Hey friends, it's Robin. Welcome to my channel. Today we are doing a completely different video. If you have been following me over on Instagram, you have seen me sneak this, but this is the start of a brand new series that I'm going to be doing, all dedicated to planning. I got a bunch of comments and messages after my reset at the end of, I think it was August, asking about planner stuff. And after talking to some people, I asked if people would be interested in a planning series. And so many people said yes that I decided to create an entire series. I haven't historically done much planning on this channel just because I didn't think that many people were interested in it. And then on top of that, every time I would post something, the videos would do really poorly. And it's hard to watch videos that you put a lot of effort into completely fail. So I stopped doing them. But so many people have asked for it that I am now starting a whole new series, and there are going to be planner videos coming pretty much every single Monday from now until the end of the year. But we're going to kick it off with what I'm calling Planner 101, which is essentially just where to begin if you are trying to get into planning. So I'm not going to be doing like an actual plan with me or anything like that in this one. Instead, this is going to be kind of dedicated to where to start if you're trying to get into planning or trying to decide what is going to work for you and what isn't. So I have 7 things that we're going to go through, and all of these things are tips, questions, steps that you can take to help you figure out what type of planner you want to use, how you're going to set it up, and all of those things. The first thing is, what do you need to plan for? This seems like such an obvious question, but I think for a lot of us, we dive headfirst into planning and we buy the first planner that we think looks cute or that we see, and it doesn't actually fit for the things that we need to plan for. I do this every single year when I am picking out my planner lineup, is to grab a piece of paper and write down a list of all the things that I need to plan for. And I always start really broad. And so I will do things like, I need to plan for work, and I need to plan for my house, I need to plan for social media, and I need to plan for my everyday to-do lists. Sometimes I will go through and I will say things like, I kind of want a schedule where I can maybe time block. And then once I have the big categories and things that I need, I start breaking it down into a little bit more detail. So what types of things do I need for my work? I definitely need a place where I can log my meetings. I need a place where I can log to-do lists. But not only to-do lists for daily, I also need to-do lists for projects, which makes me think that I also want some pages dedicated to projects and tracking. I could also use some notes for meetings so that I can take notes as I do meetings. I probably want a place to log hours, maybe a place to map out my projects. For my home, I want a monthly cleaning list, a weekly list. I don't currently have any projects, but if you have any home projects, you could put that here as well. This was definitely one that I needed when we were redoing our bathroom. The to-do lists, I like to have personally both a timed schedule as well as open to-do lists. And I prefer this to be a daily personally. You could also make this a weekly, you could make this a monthly, you could literally just have to-do sections. And then for social media, I want to track things like my TBR, my Instagram posts, my YouTube videos. And you will continue this on through all of the sections of your life. These sections can be as broad or as detailed as you would like, but the idea of this is to break down exactly what you need out of a planner. And then once you look at these things, maybe you don't actually need a planner for a to-do list or a daily. Maybe literally all you need is a to-do list. And then you can decide if there are things that can be combined together, or do I need a separate planner for work? Is this something that is totally different than these other aspects of my life that I want a specific planner for this thing and then a separate planner for these things? So the idea is get messy, list down all of the aspects of your life that you feel like you need to plan for, and then you can look through these things and decide what you actually need, which leads us right into step number 2, is ask yourself, what do I need based off of these things? How many planners do I need? What types of layouts do I need? Am I looking for to-do lists or am I looking for schedules? Do I need project tracking? for home projects or work projects? Or do I want like a monthly view for YouTube posts and Instagram posts? And once you start getting an idea of what types of layouts and things that you are actually looking for, and you don't need to get too detailed in this, especially if you're a new planner, the idea of knowing whether or not you want a schedule or a daily or a to-do list or a monthly breakdown is as much detail, I think, as you need in this step. And then once you have a list of those things that you need, so I'm going to flip it over and say that the things that we want to look for are a to-do list, preferably a daily version. I want a schedule tracker, preferably in a daily format. And then I want a project tracker, and preferably it is one that's kind of vague so that I can use it for whatever I want. And so these are the three things that I need. The last thing that you need to ask yourself on what do you need, and this is one that I think none of us really do, but decide on your budget. And I'm throwing this in here because planning stuff is expensive, and it is so easy to fall down the rabbit hole of overspending especially while you are getting started in planning. There are so many things that you can buy and so many like new things coming out all the time. So this is the time to set your budget, and not just for the planners themselves, because a lot of times I think we'll set our budget as like, okay, I don't want to spend more than $50. And then you'll buy a $50 planner, and then you don't have budget left for all of the things to go with that planner. So not only for the planner itself, but for any decorative things that you need. Do you want pens and markers and washi and stickers? And then the thing for budget that I think a lot of us don't think about is storage. How are you going to store these things? Where are you going to put them? If you decide to buy a whole bunch of washi as part of your budget, do you have storage for them? So this is kind of the big section. Decide what you need for your layouts and how many layouts you need, and then decide your budget. And this doesn't have to be like a set budget. You can be flexible, obviously, but I think having an idea of how much you want to invest in this at the beginning is really important when you are just getting started, because the last thing you want to do is overspend and drop a couple of $100 and find that all of these things that you chose don't actually work for you. So I think starting here and setting yourself a budget and then adjusting it as needed is an important step that I think a lot of us skip. And this is going to lead us right into step 3, which is trial and error. And I decided to put this in here because I really want to highlight a way that you can do this at a really affordable price. Like I said, I think a lot of us will see a new planner and it's really cute and it has a cute cover, and we just go and we purchase it and we try it and it doesn't work. And I'm going to offer a alternative and say that once you have this list, utilize freebies and printables. If you go to a lot of your planner sites, so think Moxie Life and Happy Planner, some of them will offer freebies and or really cheap printables. Etsy has so many layouts. If you can imagine it, it exists on Etsy and you can purchase that layout for less than $3. I printed out a whole bunch of them, and we're just going to kind of look through some of them and go over a couple of the options. These are just ones that I already had personally, but like I said, if you can imagine it, it exists somewhere on Etsy. So let me grab a whole bunch of things. So first of all, we have Moxie Life. This is a companion notebook, and this is a goal planner. So if goals is one of the things that you want to work on, this is an example of something that you could use. Not only does this have general monthly, it has monthly goals, and then it also has weekly actions. This is where you could write down your to-do lists. There's a dot grid page. You could use it for reflections like they intend. You could use it for random to-do lists. And the nice part about this is Moxie Life does offer a whole ton of free printables. And so if goal planning is something that you are interested in, going to Moxie Life's website will give you the ability to download some of their tools. You can get access to these weekly actions and monthly goals pages. You can also get access to an example of their daily layout, which has a weekly overview, as well as this daily page. You can get access to their flagship planner, which is a vertical lined layout with tons of habits. And there are a ton more free printables. You literally don't have to pay for this. You go onto their website and you can download them. So this is a really good option if you are considering, do I need a daily? Here you go. Here's a daily. Do I just need a weekly overview so that I can map out my week? Do I need a full vertical? Do I need habit tracking? There are literally endless things available on Etsy. Here is a larger version of that weekly dashboard. You can get to-do lists in different columns and sections. There are horizontal planners in a ton of different formats, and a lot of these will come in multiple formats themselves. So if you purchase this one in particular, I think this came with 5 different printables. It had them in gray, it had them in pink, it had them with Sunday starts. There are so many versions of just this one. There is this other version of a daily page. This is an actual physical copy of this insert that I got from this company, but they do have a digital version as well. You have things from Happy Planner, like an undated monthly, as well as this was their, I think called their monthly layout that has this general dashboard page, and then just some to-do lists. And there, I think, are like 3 or 4 pages of these to-do lists. There is the classic Happy Planner dashboard page. This does look different depending on where you purchase it from, but this is the general look of a dashboard. And then you also have your classic vertical spread. This is a Sadie Stickers planner, but there are a million versions of a classic. And again, there are endless versions of this classic alone. Do you want the sidebar on the left or the right? Do you want them lined? Do you want them to have sections with like maybe a checklist in this one? If you want something specific, if you want a vertical layout with something specific, I am telling you, there is a printable that you can try that doesn't require any sort of tools for you to get started. It literally requires you to print it out, and that is it. You don't even have to cut it. You don't have to punch it. If it is something that you are just wanting to try out, all you have to do is print it out on a sheet of paper. That's it. And then once you have this sheet of paper, you can try out this layout, and it costs you almost nothing. And then you can see if this is the right layout for you. And then once you've determined that it is the right layout, then you can go ahead and invest in the actual planner. So that is my personal advice on how to determine these things. Create your sections, decide your general layouts, decide on a budget, and then go and utilize Etsy or the planner's websites for cheap or free printables. It will just make your life so much easier in the long run so that you don't end up with a giant collection of unused planners that you will never use because they don't work for your life. Once you have determined all of that, the next thing I would suggest is deciding how much time you want to spend, because planning can be extremely simple or it can be extremely time intensive. The difference between writing down a general list that can take 2 seconds to doing the full sticker kit planning is 2 very different time commitments. So if you are a really, really busy person who has 5 free minutes in the morning, don't set yourself up for failure and invest in all of these stickers that you are not going to have time to utilize. Being honest with yourself on how much time you have to spend and want to spend on this is a really important step in finalizing this choice before investing too much money. Because if you are going to purchase a vertical layout simply for the sticker kits and the really cute planner things, and then you don't actually have the desire or the time to spend doing that, that layout isn't going to end up being functional for you. So then once you have all those things, you've decided what type of planning you want to do, you've decided what types of layouts you want, you've chosen your budget, you can choose your actual planner. There are so many planners that you can choose from. I will be honest, it is hard to choose planners because there are always new companies coming out. There are new layouts coming out. There's new styles coming out. And it can be tempting to purchase all of them. So my personal advice is to start small. Start with the bare minimum things that you need. You can always add more on later, but you can't exactly return the planners afterwards when you've decided that you don't need them anymore. They're yours. You've spent the money. It's gone. So start small. If you need a daily, don't go and buy a bunch of additional planners that don't have dailies in them, because then if it is something that you have overcommitted to, say you thought that you had an hour every week to dedicate to decorating, but that ended up not being the case, you aren't out a whole ton of money. You aren't hoarding all of these planners, and it will be easy for you to pivot into something else. Or if you are using that thing, say you do only get a daily, and then you realize that you also would like a separate work planner. Having that work planner together with that daily just doesn't work for you. You can add on the work planner. You can't give it back afterwards. So start small. It is so easy to go overboard and purchase all of the things, especially during new releases when the big planner companies release new products and you're scrolling through the endless list of new planners. Start with what you actually know that you need. You can add on later. Once you have your planner, this is kind of where I think like the fun part is. The next step, I guess, would be finding your style. This is kind of a hard one to talk through because everybody has their own style and it will evolve over time. So my best advice is to watch and follow other creators. Go and look up plan with me's. Go look up if you are going the happy planner route, or if you're going to go with an A5 planner, or if you're going to go with a bullet journal. Go and look up plan with me, and then whichever planner you're using, or a general plan with me, and start watching other people set up their planners and decide what type of style you want to go with that fits your budget, your planner, and your time commitment. And then you can kind of go through and start experimenting. This is a week in my personal work planner. I do not want to spend a lot of time on this work planner. Like, I just don't. I set it up like this simply for the fact that I want to cover up Saturday and Sunday here. And then I just block off the sections using a pen and a dot marker. And then I had a leftover sticker strip from my weekly planner that I literally just threw on here for no reason. In reality, the only things that I need are this dot marker and a pen to draw this line. Because for my work planner, I don't want to spend time decorating when all I need is it to be functional. I use this side to log my meetings for the day. I use this as a daily to-do list. I write down the hours for like the number of hours I do for a project. I use this as a general to-do list in case somebody asks for something that's like a one-off. This is where I total up my hours for each project. And then on this page, I draw a highlighter and I write down the project name and the things that I need to do for that project. And that's it. This takes me a minute to set up, and in reality, I could cut it down even more if I didn't lay down this sticker strip at the top. Deciding on your style can be different for every single planner, and it can change from year to year. So I'm going to show you a couple. I have like a whole ton of planners off to the side. This was a planner that I got from Barnes & Noble way back when. This is 2019 to 2020. And I used this as a blog planner, and this is all it was. This is it. I would take a felt tip colored pen and I would use a pencil to write in what I was going to post that day. And then as I scheduled it, I would write it with this felt pen. So it can be really, really simple. I've also done vertical planning, which has changed over time. This first planner is, I think, the first Erin Condren I ever got, which was September 2017. And this is what my spreads looked like. This was kind of the style back then. I used a Papermate Flare pen and I matched it to my spread. These are also glossy stickers, which I now hate. And so this was my original planner style. This is, I think, 2021. Yeah, 2020 into 2021. My style looked more like this. I switched to a more journaling style. This was the week that I posted my first booktube video. So, and I got really into foil, as you can see. This is what my planning looked like in 2021. And this is absolutely beautiful. And a lot of people still plan this way in a more journally foiled style. I kind of got away from it. My planner looks like this. I have times where I go back and forth between that old style and this one. So here is an example of my new style. I don't know if I have one that I can share that's kind of more reminiscent of that old style. So you can change your style, you can decide what works for you and what doesn't. And like I said, it can be different for every planner. This is a memory planner for me, so I don't need this to be functional. This is just cute, just for fun. This is my functional planner right now, and I'm going to show you a couple of spreads. This is a spread from back in February. This is when I was still purchasing kits, and then I've kind of switched away from that and switched to printable kits. I do still have some foil in here. That is foil that I purchased, but these are printable kits, so the kits themselves are no longer foiled. And this is pretty much what my style looks like now. So your style can change over time. It can change over the year. It can change based on your budget. It can change based on your time. So here is a dashboard planner. This is my dashboard planner from 2021 into 2022. And my style with this one changed a lot over time, just based on what I needed and how much time I had. So when I first started, I literally would just lay down washi, and then these were like random stickers that I had in storage. And like that was it. That was all I did. As time went on, I switched it up to happy planner kits because I wanted a little bit more decoration. So I went with that. And then now my spreads look a little something like this, which is very decorative. So now I added in extra pages. I have decorated this. I'm using journaling kits because I want to decorate more. I was finding that I wanted more time to play with stickers, and so my style has now changed. And so there are all different types of styles, and you can figure out what you want to use. Do you want to use stickers? Do you want to do washi? Do you want to use highlighters, doodles? Do you want to draw in your planner? For a while, I used these, which are Artril and Olive notebooks. This was my attempt at making a reading journal. And so I would use scrap paper and washi and cut out books and do these like flip pages. So you can do drawing, you can do things like this where you print stuff out from the internet. You can do stuff like this. This is what I would use as a journal. And so I would just lay down stickers, every couple of days, and then I would journal right here. I would lay down like 5 more days of stickers so that I had journal pages ready. So experimenting with what you want to use and what you want to do and how much time you want to spend, and then making sure that that style fits your life, your time, and your budget. And I will be honest, it is a hard balance to hit. And like I said, it is so tempting to overdo it, which is my final thing that I want to mention, and that is watching your spending. There is always new planner stuff out there. There are new planners, there's new stickers, there's new washi and pens and all of the things, and it is never ending. And if you start following creators and shops and all of that, you are going to be bombarded with the new stuff. Planner release day is Fridays in the community, and so every single Friday there is a sticker release. Some shops do it on different days. There's a $2 Tuesdays that's really popular in the community, where you will get sheets of doodles or foil or whatever, and it's $2 a sheet. And then every single season, your planner companies will release a seasonal release. You're also going to get new planners not only around the new year, but then again in summer for the teachers, and then again in the fall for the new year. So you're going to get big planner releases 2 to 3 times a year. You will also be tempted then to get other supplies like the dot markers that people use and new pens all the time. And then on top of that, the storage, because the more stuff that you buy, the more storage that you need. And storage can get really expensive, and storage can look anything from this, which is, I think these cost like $18 on Simply Gilded's website, to this, which is a floppy photo album that I got an 8-pack of, I think for $9. So your storage can also come in a range of expenses, but the more stuff that you buy, the more storage that you need, and it all adds up so quick. that is the last tip that I have for people who want to get into planning. I hope this was somewhat useful. I am going to break each of these sections down moving forward. So I talked about choosing your layouts. I am going to show you the history of my layouts, what I used in the past, what I have switched to, why I've switched to them, and all of that. I'm going to go over stickers. So the stash that I have, the shops that I use, how I store everything. I'm going to go over my planner must-haves, so pens and washi and markers and all of those things. And so we're going to go over in a little bit more detail in future videos. But I wanted to give an intro video. I know it's that time of year when people start wanting to invest in planners with all of the new planner releases, so that if you are someone who wants to get into planning, you can start figuring out what type of planner you actually need. Let me know down in the comments if this was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions in particular. I am going to try and hit all of the questions that people have submitted in these upcoming videos. And like I said, there are a lot of them. So hopefully this video was helpful. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.